Alright, everyone, on this episode we have a very special guest. His name is Benjamin. Hi, Benjamin. Would you like to introduce yourself? Sort of explain what you do in the community?
Well, good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or whatever time you're listening to this. My name is Benjamin. Most people would know me as the voice behind webdesign.com, doing a lot of training. But recently, because I train a lot of web developers, I've been getting into what cryptocurrency was and how that can help increase web developers accepting different types of payment rather than just the traditional dollar. And so that got me into Doge.
What are your thoughts on cryptocurrencies in general? Do you feel like they are here to stay, or are they going to sort of fade?
I think they are here to stay, but 5 years from now, they may not look like they look today.
That's a very good way to put it.
Just the idea of somebody being able to log on to their laptop computer and mine a few crypto coins each day, I don't think that'll exist in 5 years.
You think it's going to be all big hardware ASICs type deals?
I do think so, and even though we love the idea of a decentralized currency, it's going to be the big players that take over and control the direction of it. But that doesn't mean that the coins that are out there now won't continue to have value in the future.
Now, are you talking a 51% attack control, or are you talking about a developer's control?
Not really talking about the 51%. To be honest, I don't think too many big guys want to stay too much in the 51%, even though it may sound great at first where I can double pay, I can screw up the currency. In the end, it's going to leave it to mean nothing for me. So if you're playing in it for financial reasons, you don't want to destroy the field you're playing in.
So getting a little bit back on topic, what is it that you're developing at the moment?
Well, right now I am developing, and if you've been on the Reddit, you've seen some of the videos that I've done for this. It's called Dogeblock. And it is a system that will protect, it's like a digital locker for content that can be unlocked with a Doge payment. So if you're a band or you sell ebooks or any type of digital content that you just want, or even just your writing, your own content that you write for a website, you can slap this code right on the site, and it's all in PHP, so you're not having to worry about somebody turning off JavaScript and then they scoot right through the whole thing. So they arrive at a site, and it says, "Hey, please donate to enter," or "Please purchase this," and it's a simple little, I set my payment, and then once you make the payment, it unlocks what's underneath there, and there's other variables that play into this.
Does it work almost like an online wallet, how you accept the money?
Currently, because the API doesn't exist to do that specific thing, we're having to build that API. But currently, we are running through dogeapi.com. And what we can do with Doge API, as long as people are familiar with how the wallet or addresses, Doge addresses work, about how there's also a label that can be attached to that Doge string. That label can be used to reference past purchases at a unique ID, almost like a purchase ID, so that you can look back up into the Doge chain to see, has a purchase been made with a label? And so that's how you can validate a purchase or a donation that's already been made.
Have you tried working with Doge Chain to get a specialized API?
I've sent them code that could work, but I think it may have to be just a custom API, because we want to build things like a return URL once a purchase happens. We want to be able to process a few other things, and if you've ever made a payment with Stripe on a site where you never leave the site, it just kind of pops up a credit card screen and then you move on. That's the direction that we'd be going.
So you want to keep it in the content creator's hands, not go to any third-party applications.
Correct. So that the content creator is the one who goes and creates their account, and then they can just slap this code anywhere where they want to protect it, and it processes through that API. It's just a simple REST API that will go pass back and forth in the URL.
Have you used this for any of your own projects? Have you tested it out?
The testing actually came from another project, which is Doge MP3, which would allow you to purchase MP3s using Doge. And so the thought was, well, how can people just have donations for this? And that's where Dogelock came in. And hopefully later today at Doge MP3, the first band will be using this locking system to just collect a simple 5 Doge donation to unlock his album.
What's the band name?
I believe it's Fox Faction.
Fox Faction. What genre they playing? Just curious.
You know, I haven't listened to it yet, and I probably shouldn't say that because I've been working with him for 3 or 4 days now. But he came up to me, or he met me through Reddit, and we just started talking, and I said, hey, we can do something like that.
Yeah, well, that's badass. I hope it all works out and everything. And everybody go check it out. We'll put links in and all that stuff.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll be this afternoon. We'll post stuff, and you'll probably see it on the Reddit subreddit.
All right. Oh, we can edit out all the silent, awkward moments. Get it nice. But Luke.
I'm thinking. I have a bunch of questions that I would like to ask, but I'm trying to sort of order them.
All right.
Well, let me put this one to you, because this is another project we actually started this morning. It's called Dogeblock. Not Dogelock, but Dogeblock. It's the idea that you want to probably find who is in your block, in your region. So it's a GPS app for your phone that will connect you with other Doge owners, so that you can trade currency, trade products, tip people locally.
Oh, so it's essentially turning it into what Bitcoin has trying to be doing this entire time, turning it into mom and pop shops so that everyone is capable of using it.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. And as long as you have a wallet hooked up with this system, you can walk by a store and tip them or pay them just by connecting up the GPS is going to give you the location, and then it will have a handshake that happens between the two apps.
So this is going to be for what platform?
We do most of our standard development on Android to start with, and then we'll probably just farm it out to somebody else to make it on the other platforms.
Very nice. So essentially this would be using something similar to a QR code.
That was the first step, and then we've also been looking at even just connecting up Bluetooth connections, which would then just pass the phrase that you can type in.
You seem like a very intelligent guy. What is your take on the Doge market at this moment?
Crazy would be a good word. Anybody who went to bed last night probably are waking up going, what in the world just happened? But if you've ever traded even in real currency markets, volatility is part of currency trading.
Unfortunately, we've found that out recently by losing a couple. But have you ever tried investing in trading?
Okay, this is going to sound weird because, I'm a big supporter and I want Doge to succeed. But yeah, most of the time I make my money on kind of shorting Doge. Because if even a lot of people don't understand trading, And the fact is, if you sell a whole bunch of Doge just at 64 Satoshi and you buy it back at 63, you just move a tiny little bit. You can make a lot of money.
Yeah. So essentially what he's talking about here, for those who don't know, is you're buying at a slightly higher price and then selling at a slightly lower price. But when you move large capital, you're able to make back an extreme amount of money.
Plus, it's, this is the other thing, and maybe this is a good encouragement. I've been trying to tell people this. Right now, at the position Doge is at, have fun trading. It's a tiny amount of actual real currency. And this is a great time to learn what a market does and what a buy order is, what a sell order is. This is the perfect time to do it because let's say you just lost 10,000 Doge. What is that, like 50 cents?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It's like $5.
Nominal amount.
Or wait, no, 50 cents, yeah.
But if that means you're learning, it's going to help you in the long run, because I think there will be only 3 cryptocurrencies in the future. I think a lot of people think this. You're going to have Bitcoin, Litecoin, and I think Doge. And I think Doge is going to fit into that smaller currency level. If you think Bitcoin being the big gold bars, Litecoin being the dollar bills, Doge is the change. There's lots of change in the world.
Yeah, and it is a great training for like the stock market in practice. If somebody wants to get in there, just get in and play around with some Doge, some cryptocurrencies. Get used to trading and selling and that stuff. And Dogecoin has brought a lot of people to the community. Just because you can get a bunch of them just by CPU mining. Dogecoin has done a lot for the cryptocurrencies in general. All cryptocurrencies brought a lot of people into it, understanding it, learning about it.
You're absolutely right, and that's how part of the reason I got into it. Bitcoin and Litecoin, it takes forever to earn anything, and even if you are lucky to get something, and with the first night I mined with Dogecoin, I wake up the next morning, there's like 700 Dogecoins there. You're like, wow, I actually did something, and which means I set the miner correct, where you never knew if you actually set the miner correct in the other currencies.
Yeah, a lot of people get hung up on that part.
So what were you mining on? Were you just using a basic laptop, or do you have a gaming desktop?
I've got a number of systems that run periodically, but I got started on just a gaming laptop that had a GPU, so was just using CUDA miner because it only had an NVIDIA card in it. But that was enough to hook me.
I'm trying to organize my thoughts, I'm sorry. I think you actually answered all of my questions. Tyler, do you have any more questions?
So, what are you currently mining at right now?
I'm mining at a very minuscule, about 90 to 110 is what I average. But because I've got to use these computers for other work too.
So are you strictly developing for Dogecoin, or have you ever thought about branching out to any other coins, or do you think Dogecoin's where it's at, no need? Or have you before done any other coins?
We haven't done any other coins, and even in the other part of the business that I do, we don't accept any cryptocurrency. But with the apps that we're kind of playing around with here in the Doge market, it doesn't make sense right now to go after any of the larger cryptocurrencies because, it's still difficult for somebody to go out and get a Bitcoin to pay for something.
Yep. Mass appeal for the Doge.
And there's still the impression, I was actually talking with a number of other business owners, there's still the impression that it's illegal to buy Bitcoins in the United States with a bank account, because there's information out there amongst business leaders that say you will get your bank account frozen for trading in Bitcoins. So there's a disconnect with large business owners and understanding what cryptocurrency is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just the public perception for cryptocurrencies right now, the average person that's not tech savvy, it's not too great. They maybe remember a story they heard on the news from about the Silk Road, and that's pretty much what the perception is for the general public, and tied into illegal activities. I tried telling my grandparents about me mining Dogecoins, and they said I was going to go to jail.
Well, I think one of the ways that if people want to say, how can I change that perception, and this is one of the things I started doing, is go get one of those paper wallets. Get a whole bunch of paper Doge wallets. Print them out, put 50 to 100 Doge on each one of them, and on the back, let people know what they can do, kind of like a 1, 2, 3 instructions. Here, go here to learn about Doge. This is how you transfer it to your wallet. This is how you get a wallet. And this is how you get started. And I've given you X number of Doge to get started. And you just start passing them out when you're on the subway, when you're at work, when you're at the coffee shop. Just say, hey, I want you to have this. It's free money. The moment you say free money, they're going to walk through those steps to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good idea.
That really help get Dogecoin more proactive and get more of the community, or more into the community, which will essentially make Dogecoin an actual currency eventually when we reach that point.
It will, and it's word of mouth that's going to make it work. And people on Reddit and in the tech underground, they already know about this, or many of them already know. They kind of understand cryptocurrency. What you need to do is get somebody who has zero clue about cryptocurrency to walk through your 1, 2, 3 steps on the back of your paper wallet, because then when they go through the whole thing, they're going to be telling people who are not in the tech world, and those people are going to just pass it. I think that's the big way to get adoption for Dogecoin.
Do you ever see Dogecoin or cryptocurrency in general taking over the U.S. dollar or the euro?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
There's too much big business invested in that. There's, not to be cynical, but it's the socialist world of Eugene, Oregon, where everybody lives on the streets and all hippies are happy, and everyone shares the money. That cannot exist in the ecosystem of the world we live in right now.
Too many people hoard and keep to themselves, and they're not really trying to spread it.
Well,
and that's part of the reason why I think it's good that the Dogecoin is not worth so much, because people are willing to just give it away. If we started mining and Dogecoin was 1 Dogecoin to $1, we would have died within the first week because nobody would have done anything with it.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, because I feel like for a lot of people, the more it's worth, the more they're able to spend it, because they feel that the value is increased.
See, spending is one thing, but I think part of what has catapulted Doge is the giving away.
The tipping.
Yeah.
It's that tipping. It's the ability to say, hey, I just gave out 10,000 Dogecoins to 500 different people. And those 500 people didn't have Dogecoins to begin with. And currently, right now, and hopefully a few of developers like me are also trying to solve this problem, how can we actually transition part of the Doge economy into a purchasable e-commerce community, so that it is more practical that, hey, I want to order a pizza. Pizza Hut's now taking Dogecoins. Hey, I want to go to the grocery store. I want to slap my phone, my mobile phone, on the payment gateway. I want to create the same way where Google just came out with the Google Wallet credit card. which it's a physical card and it runs straight through. I've gotten people who say this isn't a credit card. I'm like, no, flip it over. It actually is. Just slide it through here, and it's connected to my Google Wallet. So I think that's the direction. Once we can get people moving in that direction, then Doge will graduate from the tipping to an actual currency that will grow on its own.
So do you think that donations will also grow?
As long as Doge doesn't skyrocket in price. I honestly think if it goes above $5 a Doge, how many people do you see tipping Bitcoins?
No.
How many people do you see tipping Litecoins? I don't see anybody.
Nobody.
Or if you go to those faucets, how many of you have actually tried to get an actual Bitcoin out of a faucet now? It takes you like 3 to 4 weeks of going every single day, visiting 20 different sites, and they all store 0.000000001, and you have to earn a Bitcoin before they pay out.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work.
Luke was telling me about some concerns he had for Dogecoin's future. Dogecoin's future after they've all been mining. Luke, why don't you you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So my concern was that the confirmations and the confirmation rate would go exponentially down once the miners have stopped. Have you looked into that at all?
Only briefly, but my take on it, and just trying to read some of the stuff that the developers are writing, or you jump over onto the GitHub conversations that they're having. You know, there is the debate where some people think we'll reach a final coin. I don't believe the algorithm that I've kind of looked at, it's not going to end. It will just become, the difficulty will be way up, and it will be harder to mine. It'll still mine, and most of the miners would be mining for, as you say, the transaction fee. But think about it this way. If Dogecoin gets to the point where we are now at 100 billion coins, and it is a mass adoption, you'd be looking at 100,000 transactions happening every single hour. Well, if each one of those transactions carries with it a 1 to 2 Doge transaction fee, you're still getting a payoff for the block at 200,000 plus. So even if at the mass adoption, as long as it's a viable ecosystem of trade, I think it'll still be viable to mine. Maybe not for everybody, but you'll still be able to earn Dogecoin as a miner.
That, however, is only if we get a mass adoption, which hopefully happens. Hopefully.
Correct. But I mean, I think that's true for any cryptocurrency. Unless you get the mass adoption, it fails.
Yeah. It seems like for Doge, at the moment, it has gotten the mass adoption, but I'm still a bit worried about how it almost feels a bit like a hand grenade. It seems like it's exploding right now, but when prices start to dip, people run in all directions.
It does, and it's part of why I think, and this may stand against what all cryptocurrency is about, I hope the Doge Foundation becomes a little bit more of a guiding light. Maybe not exerting their control over everything, but I think people who don't understand mass movements of any type of entity, whether it's currency or it's a movement within people groups, unless you understand that, you still need somebody who is saying, this is the direction I think we need to go. This is where we are striving for. This is the direction that we are heading. The masses can always change that, but I think we need to have the core developer needs to be a visual and a verbal, loudspeaker.
He needs to be a part of the actual community instead of just letting the community run rampant.
Correct. And you still can get the community to course correct itself. or the community can go in a different course than the guiding principal light or the person who's out pushing that concept. But you still need somebody who's giving it at least a monicum of authority.
Yes. So you do need a... It seems like with everything almost, everything that has tried to go the way of cryptocurrency has almost failed. I mean, I can't think of a thing that has lived to tell the tale after a fault in the system besides cryptocurrency. And I think that's partially because there was that singular entity who started it all, Satoshi Nakamoto, and people almost look to him for guidance sometimes. And that's what I like to see in my currencies.
Yeah, and he's fully involved, and when he speaks, people listen. And so what I would love to see with that foundation is, even if the founder or some of the core original owners of Doge don't want to do this, I think it would be a good thing that the foundation has a board that's voted on. I think the foundation should charge a fee to become a part of the Doge Foundation, even if it's just a minuscule 100 Doge to become a member, a voting member, and it's every year you pay the membership fee to the Doge Foundation, and from that you're voting on maybe like a foundation group of 5 who they're not in charge of the currency at all. It's just they meet occasionally to say, hey, are there things in the future we need to watch out for? Where's the stumbling block? And even if it's just once a month, here's our take on what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you believe the script ASICs coming out are legit? There's been a lot of speculation about them being false.
You know, I haven't even taken a look at that yet.
No. Sorry. We can cut that out.
Well, no, I mean it's fine because, and I think it's a good thing because there's so many things that happen so fast in cryptocurrency that you can't keep up with everything.
Yeah. Well, just to fill you in, all that I know is they're taking pre-orders. I forget what the site's. Luke, what's
Alpha Technologies is
Alpha
taking pre-orders
Technologies
for it.
Taking pre-orders. There's a lot of speculation, about it being false or not. They haven't shipped yet. They're supposed to ship sometime soonish. I'm not sure. We'll just see where that goes when it comes out, if it's legit.
Yeah, anybody who takes pre-orders who doesn't have an actual product to test, I'm very hesitant.
They have a very nice picture. I mean, if that counts for anything. If that counts for anything.
If you want to know what I think is one of the most exciting tech things coming out for any cryptocurrency, it's the stuff that the Moolah guys are doing.
Yeah.
With the ATM that is pretty cheap to purchase, and they've already said that they can handle a number of cryptocurrencies for it.
I got a project for you, Benjamin. Your next project right here, and this will get Dogecoin community up and running. This is what you got to do, man. You got to get one of them Bitcoin ATMs. You got to reprogram it for Dogecoin and put it in marijuana dispensaries over in Colorado. Boom. We get the stoners under Dogecoin to the moon, no doubt about it. They're already past that. They're that high already.
Well, they're already good to light a certain fire.
First, they have to press the button. Am I high or not? If they're high, it's $1,000 per Dogecoin. If they're not, it's just 1,000 Dogecoins per dollar.
That would be great. Oh, I saw that thing. It was basically like a red box type thing for movies, but for marijuana they're doing in Colorado. You can just get one of them for Dogecoin going on. I believe in you, Benjamin. You can do it.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with new tech and new ideas. There's only 24 hours in a day, and we all need like 42 in a day.
Yeah. You got any questions or anything, Steve-O?
None of that I can think of right now, but I was wondering, everybody here kind of gathered that Doge is the closest that we've had to an actual currency, to it actually becoming a currency. And I'm not gonna lie, I forgot where I was going with that.
It's okay, Steve-O.
It's alright, Steve-O.
It's coming. Oh, yeah. So do you think that they're gonna come out with another coin that's gonna start off just like Doge, kind of in the same way, and actually push closer towards it actually becoming a currency? Or do you think that it's going to kind of just fade away in time and people are going to eventually forget about it?
This may be dating me, but what I'll probably say is I think Dogecoin was lightning in a bottle. It's extremely hard to reproduce. It's the idea that there were a number of MP or CD players, and it wasn't until Sony came out with, which was exactly the same as everybody else's, their Sony Walkman, the Discman. Then it took off. The idea of taking mobile music with me, that I didn't have to carry this massive boombox on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lightning in a bottle.
See, but the problem
It
with
was already
lightning in a
out there.
bottle is it's so volatile.
Yeah. And so, what are there? I mean, there are already over 200 cryptocurrencies. Maybe it's 300. I can get a cryptocurrency for, the Earth. I can get it for the universe. I can get it for different characters, cartoons.
You can get one for
None of them
Kanye
have taken
West.
And then you'll get sued.
Yeah, and it really is amazing that Doge took off, and that's why I call it lightning in a bottle. You could never have said, let's just take a worn-out meme and make a giant economy out of it.
Yeah. Excuse me. When Kanye Coin got sued by Kanye West, I saw a Reddit post. I'm not sure if it's legit or not, and maybe you guys know about it, but they said Kanye West was trying to sue Dogecoin as well. You guys heard anything about that?
That has no traction behind it if that's
I
actually
know,
true.
but if you knew Kanye
Well, it
West...
actually, here's what happened. If you read, I think it was like Section 9 of that lawsuit. I don't know if you remember, in the Reddit community, there was a Redditor who went and bought all these Kanye or Coinye websites, domain names, and then he put the Doge dog on all those websites. They don't know who he is because he registered the domains under an obscurity system, and so therefore, when they defined what Dogecoin was in the lawsuit, it was the owner of these websites. So the actual Dogecoin itself and the Dogecoin community, everybody dealing with Dogecoin, is not in the lawsuit. It is the person who actually registered those domains. And I wouldn't worry too much if I were him. At the biggest thing, all he wants is to transfer the domains back to somebody else. But if he were to actually just claim satire, then there's nothing you can do. You can register anything in satire in the United States.
Yeah.
Anybody got any more questions? Or Benjamin, you got anything else you want to put in or plug or advertise? Or
Do you want to give us the
The
name
biggest
of your
thing-
sites again?
Have fun.
yeah,
Right now, I was just going to say the site's Dogeblock.com. That'll be where you want to get information about that virtual lock system. Hopefully later today, Doge MP3 will be selling the first album, just purchasing it with Doge. But get involved in the community. There's plenty of forums. There's plenty of chat rooms on IRC. There's plenty of stuff to read on Reddit. But that's the biggest thing. Stay involved, and Doge will continue to evolve into whatever it is going to be.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We had a
thank you
great
so
time.
much.
And
Really opened my
hopefully we
eyes.
can have you on in the future when this is all said and done, and it's hopefully a great success.